And you should all be asked about a little pressing your record and accepting a record. Okay. Now that you've done that, forget that it's there. Okay, because I want you to be 100% present with me for the coaching. And the only thing you're going to need for this evening is a pen and a bit of paper. Okay. So I want us to get really present to being here. And let's just slow everything right down. So I invite you please to close your eyes for a moment. Let's just close our eyes. And if you've got something in your hands, that pen that I mentioned, just put it down. Thanks. And if you want, just sit back, close your eyes. And I'd like you to take a deep breath in. Really fill it into your belly, fill it into your chest, fill it across your back. And a long, slow exhale. And do the same again this time. Really fill it into your belly, fill it into your chest, right up into the back. And the last time, I want you to fill it into your belly and your chest. I want you to hold it, hold it, hold it. And when you're ready, breathe it out with a long, loud sigh. Ah. You have the advantage of being on mute, so I couldn't hear you, but you all heard mine. Now, I'd like you to consider something. This is an invitation for you to consider. What if the reason that you're here in this workshop right now is not the reason you think you're here? You signed up for a workshop called How to Beat Procrastination and Get Stuff Done. I want to invite you. What if you don't yet know why you are here in this workshop? Now, if you open yourself up to that possibility that we're creating together, then infinite possibilities become available that weren't available to you just a moment before. So I invite you to create this possibility, to let go of the reason that got you here and to be open to any other possibility. And we'll find out what that is as we go on. So just let that sit with you for a moment. Now, the reason I talk about what got you here won't get you there is because I was very fortunate to train with Dr. Marshall Goldsmith in stakeholder-centered coaching. And Dr. Goldsmith wrote a book literally called What Got You Here Won't Get You There. So where we are right now, hello Jimena, thank you for joining us. Where we are right now and where we want to get to, we have to be open to the possibility that what's got us here, we need to put that to one side and open ourselves up to possibilities to get to where we want to get to. Now, this is important. People see what you do. People see what I do. I hope Jimena's not going to mind me putting her on the spot. Jimena and I have known each other for probably 12, 13 years. I was Jimena's teacher. a long, long time ago in a place far, far away. So I know Jimena and Jimena knows me, but in a context that is different. We are the same people. We've changed by our experiences, but the context is different. I can probably learn as much from Jimena right now as Jimena can learn from me. People see what we do. And I want to invite you to let go of what you think you know about me. Some of you may have seen my LinkedIn profile. Some of you may have read the profile on Eventbrite. Let go of all of that. I invite you to be here this evening from a fresh context. Okay, shift where you are. You see what I do, but you don't know necessarily how I feel. From the outside, people form perceptions of us. But you probably don't know that I felt humiliated and I felt embarrassed because there have been times in my career when I've been bullied. You probably don't know at one time I got fired and I was devastated by it. It was humiliating the way I got fired. There have been times over my career, despite the external successes that people have seen, that I've struggled to pay bills and worried about where the next check is going to come from. You see me standing here, and literally this is being broadcast live across LinkedIn and Facebook and with you here in the Zoom room. I'm actually quite introverted. I really struggle sometimes to show up as who I am because I'm afraid of being rejected. Now, as I share some of my stories, I can see some of you connecting with that. And I can see some kind of similarity between what I'm saying is resonating with you. I want you to bring the coaching towards you because we all share a common humanity, regardless of our context. Now, I've wanted to start my own coaching business for years. I had my first coach probably about the same time that I met Jimena. Okay, but I only found the courage in February to walk away from my career of 24 years and to start this business. Something shifted for me. And it wasn't a one-day wake-up shift. It was a gradual building shift. But then one day it shifted. Now I want to write a book. I've even been approached by a publisher. And I've got an outline, but I'm filled with doubt and insecurity and fear sometimes that's holding me back from fulfilling on that project. And that is procrastination. So just a quick show of hands in the room. Do any of you have a project or something that you really burn to do that you're not doing at the moment? Your hands up. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Thank you. I'm really grateful to you participating and showing me that I'm not alone. Sometimes I feel lazy. Sometimes I feel insecure. There are some times that I feel that I'm not good enough. There are days where I feel all three at the same time. That helps me to procrastinate. That's my sabotaging behavior. Do you have sabotaging behaviors and thoughts? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. You're not alone. 85% of the population globally, regardless of gender, identity, all of these things that we seek to, our common humanity is what unites us. Yeah, 85% of us. Now, I've built up new organizations. I've turned around failing ones. I took a startup to break even and 6 million in turnover in under 2 years. Started my own business. I've been a published writer. I've been an army officer in training. Somehow, I'm always looking for what's next. Sabotaging behavior. And when I do accomplish something, there have been times where I've allowed myself for about 10 seconds to go, yeah, great, well done. Oh, but you could have done it better that way. Or if you'd have done it like this, that would have been better. What did you do wrong? How can you do it better? Do any of you feel like that sometimes? Yeah. So what did I do? I went on a journey inwards. I asked myself some deep questions. I found some space in my life. I stepped away from all the external stuff and I focused on the internal stuff. Because I wanted to figure out why I was sabotaging myself, why I was procrastinating, why I was making myself wrong, why I was afraid of looking bad, why I was afraid of being wrong, why I was keep getting stuck in the same patterns. And I came up with an answer that I'd answered 20 odd years ago. What was my purpose? My purpose is to help people transform, to help people live their fullest self-expression. And I spent 24 years of that doing it through schools. Now I do it as a coach. So my way of doing things is to slow it all down. Because if I can build one relationship and have a powerful conversation and shift what's going on for that one person, then I'm helping to transform the world and shift what's going on. So I work with people who want to play big, who want to make their lives matter. And the fact that you're here tonight and you've given me your time, thank you so much, shows me that you want that same thing. You want to make something big. Okay? You'll hear me talk about playing big or playing. And this is a game. Okay? Because when you're living on that edge, when you've got that confidence, that mojo that I want you all to find, then it is a game. It's kind of, if you ever read Tao Te Ching, it's about being in that state where everything is in flow, where you are being and doing, and you're so part of the being and doing that you are the being and doing. And that for me is what I call mojo. Okay, when you're in that full, present, active, self-aware state. So, like I invited you to consider why you're here is perhaps not the reason why you're here. I'd like you to think about this, to listen for insight this evening, not for agreement. I'm not here for you to like me. Hopefully you will, but I'm not to everybody's taste. Okay, I'm not here for you to agree with me. This isn't the truth. I'm not here as a sage on the stage imparting the truth. I'm not a guru. Okay, because most of the time we listen for agreements. Oh, I like what Diane said. Oh, I didn't like what Jimena said. I'm not going to listen to that again. I'm going to write that one down. Oh, I'm going to ignore that. That fits my worldview. That one doesn't. Okay. The British government just got its knuckles wrapped for that kind of thinking. Okay, over how it handled the pandemic. Okay, listen for insight, not for agreement. And listen for transformation, not for information. Okay, listen for what can shift for you this evening. So enough of me talking. I want you to spend 1 minute, okay, thinking. What would you like to take away from tonight's coaching? Okay. It could be a big challenge in your life. in your business, in your relationships, in your career right now? Or what do you want to create for yourself? Okay, write it down. If it helps, imagine that it's the 12th of October 2024. You're going through Heathrow Airport and you happen to bump into me in the coffee shop, and you've had the most amazing 3 years of your life ever. Everything that you've wanted, you've achieved, everything is going absolutely great for you. And you just say to me, holy shit, Alec, you'll never guess what game I'm playing now. The last 3 years have been amazing. So spend a couple of minutes just putting those ideas down. Okay, so now that you've got some ideas down, having that deep inward look, who wants to share?
Happy to.
Okay, thank you, Diane.
Somebody's always got to go first, right?
Always.
Okay, so I wrote, learn how to dispel thoughts that do not bring me joy.
Okay. Can you give me an example of a thought that doesn't bring you joy?
Yes, I suppose anxious is probably a good example. I wrote in brackets to try to describe that, which I guess is what is probably nowadays called mindfulness.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess being probably better at being mindful. But yeah,
Okay.
that's how I described it. Yeah.
Okay. Just a show of hands in the room. Do other people have anxiety and feel that they need to be more present sometimes, a bit more mindful? Certainly I do. Okay, and Diane, can I ask, how long have you been dealing with this feeling?
I guess as long as I can remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's its impact on you?
Outwardly, as you described earlier, probably not obvious. But within my very close family and close circle of friends, probably is a little bit more obvious. So yeah, feelings maybe that I would probably be only happy to share, you know, on a more personal level with my closest, nearest and dearest. But in my professional life, I probably look altogether.
And what in that inward space and with those close friends, Diane, what's that costing you? What's the impact on you?
I'm guessing probably a physical impact would probably be not great sleep, for example.
Okay. I can certainly relate to that. Insomnia, the mind not allowing you to switch off and relax. And you said that this has been going on as long as you can remember. So,
and I imagine at greater, to a lesser or greater extent, depending on how things are, you know, in the sort of the whole of. So it would depend on whether, you know, if things in the family are going well, or things with friends are going well, or things are going well at work. I suppose, you know, it depends, because our life does tend to ebb and flow a little. So I think, yeah, I think if I'm honest, you know, I think, yeah, life has been like that, as you know, I guess for many people it's like that as well.
Yeah. I think I can certainly relate to having an overactive mind and insomnia. Anybody else in the group sometimes suffering with that anxiety and insomnia? Yeah. Okay. Now, thinking about the insomnia and the impact on you, what is the impact? You mentioned the nearest and dearest around you. What do you think the impact is on them of you being like this sometimes?
I guess cause for concern, you know, they're, you know, I mean, we all, yeah, I think probably they worry about, they would be worrying about,
Okay.
Yeah.
So they worry about you because they see you in this pattern of behavior. Okay.
And equally, I would reciprocate that for my nearest and dearest on a personal level, but also on a professional level. You know, I would hope that I could see that somebody was struggling or you know, not dealing with something. So, you know, I think for me, you know, personal and professional, they're very, very closely related, I think. I think you depending, I mean, I know your background is in education, and I think you tend to you use your skills, you know, that you use in both personal and professional, are very intertwined.
May I lean in a little bit, Diane?
Of course.
Okay. May I ask you to clean up on your language, because you're talking about you in the third person. When you talk about me, it brings it in. When you're talking about you, okay, it pushes it out. So I want to play it back to you. In my professional career in education, I can see, okay, if somebody is struggling, if they're anxious in their personal, professional life. So can you, internalize and say it from your personal perspective rather than pushing it out to you?
I'm not quite sure I understand what I.
Okay. So I'll play back what you were saying. Well, you know from your career in education that you can see when people are like this and that it's intertwined for you. So you were talking about yourself, but you were talking about yourself in the third person. Yeah. So you're externalizing. When you say, I, Diane, as an educator in my career, I can see when people are suffering from anxiety in their personal or professional life, then that's you. You're taking it in. Do you see the difference in the language?
I think so, yes.
Yes. So I'd like you to try and say that again from your perspective.
I'm able to recognize when when I am struggling in either my personal or my professional life.
And you mentioned about how professional and personal were intertwined. So, and you also mentioned right at the very beginning that people in your professional circle don't see what's going on with you inside. Only those closest, nearest and dearest see that. Now, do you believe that to be true?
I think so, yes.
Because I want to put something to you. If it's showing up in one area of your life,
it's probably showing up in another.
It's probably showing up in another.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Thank you.
No, thank you. You're doing the work, Diane. You're doing the work. Okay. You're doing the work. I'm just holding the space. You're doing great work. You're doing fantastic work. Okay. So I want to take it one slice deeper down. Okay. So you've seen this pattern of behavior in this way of thinking. And in your words, you said, as long as I can remember. Okay. And you said that it's costing you peace and it's costing you sleep. What is the story that you're telling yourself so that you stay stuck with this?
I think it's probably what you outlined earlier, which I would put the title imposter syndrome to.
Okay. Yeah. So when you think about imposter syndrome, what does that show up for? How does that show up for you, imposter syndrome?
Self-doubt. So how I would talk to myself, probably. Yeah.
Okay. So self-doubt. So could you give me an example of that? What that would sound like or what that would look like? Everybody else, I want you to lean into this, because although I'm coaching Diane, okay, there's coaching.
Yes, and I certainly don't want to be the only person that speaks.
Don't worry, Diane. If they're leaning in, okay, then they're getting something from this too.
Okay.
So to bring this coaching to you, okay, all of you out there, what is the story you are telling yourself that's keeping you stuck?
I guess it is the doubt that I may not be good enough.
Okay. Now you qualified that, the doubt that I may not be good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how your inner critic voice speaks to you, Diane, in those moments?
I think it wavers from you're not good enough to you're good enough. So it's probably polarized, probably.
Okay, so there's a spectrum there.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Now, when that voice speaks, who does it sound like?
Yeah, interesting. I guess nobody in particular. Yeah, nobody in particular.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And when that voice shows up for you, particularly the you're not good enough end of the spectrum, yeah, what kind of impact does that have on you? What does that do?
Well, the effect is that I try to move. So it makes me move. It makes me move physically. So if it's possible, I will at that point try to take the dog for a walk in order to change that narrative.
Okay. So you'll try and use some physiological movement to break that state,
Yeah.
that hold on you.
Yeah, yeah.
How effective is that?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Right now, it's beautiful fall weather. So right now, it's pretty effective.
Okay, great. Okay. Excellent, Diane. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I want to open this up to, I'm going to come back to you in a bit, Diane. I'm giving you a little break. Okay. I want to open this up to everybody else. Okay. What are you taking away from this about you? Okay. What's resonating with you? So I'm going to share something before I come to somebody else. Give you a moment to collect your thoughts. My inner critic sounds like one of my old teachers. My teacher at the end of primary school. He was a very stern man. He had a very dry sense of humor. And I obviously wasn't one of his favorites. And he had this very strident voice. And I remember this bony finger poking me here in my shoulder. Yeah, kind of thing that if you were a teacher these days, they'd drag you away in chains. And when I hear the voice in my head, particularly the "you're not good enough" voice, it's him. Yeah, and this is why I want to bring in this little diagram. Procrastination shows up in certain events or certain tasks. And over here are the meanings and the emotions that we attach to those. The I can't do that because I'm not good enough. I can't ask for that promotion or pay rise because I'm not valuable enough. I can't close my mind down and sleep tonight because I'm worried about this thing over here that's happened that makes me look bad. But what's happened and the meaning and the emotion that we attach to it are separate. But we as human beings, we're meaning-making machines. Something happens, and it's like we have a filing cabinet in our brains. We open the drawer up and we start rifling back through the filing cabinet. Oh, when did this last happen? When was this last experience similar to this one? Oh, that happened back to me in 1980. When was that? Showing my age, 1983. Now, at that point, I made it mean that I wasn't good enough. It must mean the same thing because it's the same feeling. Therefore, I'm not good enough. And we go through this filing cabinet of old memories and old resources to try and make meaning of what's happening to us now. So, Sabina or Nick or Jimena, who would like to play? Jimena, can I call on you? Oh, Nick's unmuted himself. There we go. Go on, Nick.
I'll happily step up.
I was unmuted as well, so don't worry. Go, you go, Nick.
Okay, Nick.
My biggest thing is just putting off big meaty tasks. It's not self-doubt at all. It's just smaller tasks are easy to tackle, and when I get around to the big tasks, it's usually deadline orientated. Tackle them hard, do them well, but what it does mean is I have to work harder in that space and time, and therefore pull more hours, and in that core period. So I'll end up doing a 16-hour day rather than a 12-hour day, which then has detrimental effect further on, and so on and so on. So really, I suppose, going back to your earlier question, what did I come here for? Just to think about other ways to move my mindset a little bit, to just say, do you know what? It's not good enough to think, oh, I need to do that in 2 weeks' time, so I've still got 2 weeks to do it, rather than just saying, do you know what? I've got an hour now, so I should probably have a look at that, rather than thinking, oh, actually, I'll just park it and look through my emails one more time.
Okay, right, good. So, big task versus small task. Yeah.
Yep.
Who decides that they're big or small?
Probably the amount of work I have to put into it. So for me, I decide whether it's big or small, but my ratio being 30 seconds to send an email versus 10 hours to write a heavy policy or document. Okay.
So you get to decide about the amount of time and whether it's big or small. Yeah. Yep. So you've got the power in that decision.
Yep.
Who decides how much time you actually spend doing it?
Me.
You. Okay, so you've got the power in that decision. Who decides whether to do it on their own or perhaps involve some other colleagues?
Me.
You. Okay, so you've got the power in that decision as well.
Yeah. So I'm the accounting officer, and I'm the CEO.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Who decides if it's good enough?
So that's my trustees.
The trustees.
Yeah.
Yeah. But before it goes to the trustees, who decides that it's good enough to go to the trustees?
Well, ultimately me, but I have to. I generally send it to my directors beforehand. Generally, anything that will go like that.
Okay.
So I get their nod first. I know that sounds silly, but just down to I like a second pair of eyes to review stuff, provide me with relevant comments, and just a different thought process before I send anything up. So,
but before you send it to the directors to get a second pair of eyes and a nod on it.
Yeah, me.
You.
Yeah.
Okay. So you get to decide whether it's big or small, how much time, who's involved, and when it's good enough.
Yep.
Yeah. So what's holding you back?
Well, again, it's not, nothing's holding me back in terms of doing it. It's doing it in a it's been my entire life I've done this. Like homework. If I take that example, it's not I can't do the homework. I'll just wait until the morning before it has to stew in, because that's, the type of person I've always been. So holding me back, it's just my mindset, which is, again, my control, but I'm not too sure how to break that horrid cycle. I've tried many a time.
Okay. I just want to play back what you just said there. You talked about homework when you were in school.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're talking about yourself now. Yeah. You haven't got quite as much white in the beard as me, so I'm kind of picturing late 30s, early 40s.
Mid 30s, thanks, but all right.
Yeah. So you're talking about a time gap there of about 20 years.
Yeah.
This is the type of person I've always been. What's that cost you in those 20 years?
Oh, lots of wasted time. Fundamentally, I mean, it's cost me huge. I mean, less so now. Best thing I ever had was kids, because they make me work far more productively. But there's still times where I have to pull a 16, 18-hour day, and therefore I don't get home to see them, and that's not good enough, really.
Okay, like I did with Diane, I'm going to lean in, and I'm going to ask you to clean up your language.
Yeah.
Who decides that you have to do the 16 to 18-hour days?
Not me.
You do.
Yeah.
So is it have to do or choose to do?
Choose, of course, because there's no one controlling me. Though morally feel I have to is the other thing.
Okay.
So, yeah. Okay. So in answer, I choose. Yes.
Okay. Good. Okay. So you are choosing. You just mentioned you got kids, yeah?
Yep.
You love your kids.
Absolutely.
Love spending time with your kids.
Yep.
Love spending time with your family.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're choosing to have a better relationship with this device that's sat in front of you. Yeah. This bit of plastic and metal and glass. Because this is the type of person that you've always been. Yeah.
Yeah. So I understand what you're saying in terms of I'm choosing, but if I don't do it, I then don't earn. I then get pulled over coals. There's only a certain amount of times I get pulled over the coals before I then end up, not being able to pay bills as such.
Okay.
And therefore, that's of course the overall worry, and that's why I choose to then work the hours I do, because I've procrastinated in the first instance.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get down to the procrastination. Right.
Yep.
Big task is due.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's the meaning that you're attaching to it?
As in, do I class it as just red tape or something that is critically important? Is that?
Well, I'm not making you right or wrong, Nick.
No. I'm struggling to understand your what you mean by meaning.
So you talked about a policy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you give me an example of a policy?
Teaching and learning.
Okay. Teaching and learning policy.
Yeah.
Big task.
Yep.
Yeah. What's the meaning that you're attaching to it?
As in, sorry, I don't quite understand what you mean by meaning.
So I've got this big task I've got to do.
Yeah.
It needs to be done to this standard by this time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm making that mean something.
Okay. So as in, I'm giving it a deadline and of a quality.
So you're deciding a deadline, you're deciding the quality, but you're also deciding what it means to you to sit down and put time into writing that policy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the bit I'm looking for.
You know, I'm struggling to articulate what that would mean to me. You know, it's something I have to do.
Okay.
It needs to be done. So
I have to do, it needs to be done. Who decides that?
government.
Government, okay. So where's if you go to kind of autonomy, okay, where's your autonomy in that?
Well, there isn't, in terms of I have to still write one which is critically evaluated. I have a choice in writing one. I have to have one.
Okay. So I want you to compare that to something, a job where you have a lot of autonomy.
Yeah.
So when you've got a lot of autonomy and a lot of choice, how do you view the task?
In a similar sense, in terms of deadline, got to be done. Place I put so let's take, if I'm writing a strategic plan for our moral purpose, you know, I articulate it incredibly clearly because it's something I'm very passionate about, and I'll put effort in there into terms to get it done and things like that. But I still will leave it to last minute. Okay.
So is the common thread here the degree of autonomy and choice that you have, or what's the thread? What's the bit that I'm missing?
Sorry, I don't think it's autonomy, because I have an incredibly autonomous job. There is stuff that's mandated down to me, but it's my autonomy and my diary, and I keep what I want. But it's merely that I work to a deadline, and the deadline is a hard stop. That makes sense?
Yeah.
And so I have and always will do work very, very clear to those hard stops. So what I do is I'll take a task and say, right, that's going to take me 23 hours to do. So as long as there's 23 hours that I can work to do it, I know I'm able to cover that out.
Okay.
But what I'll be is say, I'll look at that in 21 days to go and think, right, I've got 21 days. It's only going to take me 23 hours. Right. So I don't need to do that now. So instead, I will go and have a conversation or a cup of tea or go for a walk. You know, all relevant things, but not when you do them in abundance, instead of actually tackling that thing, which then means I get 2 days beforehand and think, right, got to fit 23 hours in here now.
Okay. So there's all of our behaviors have they serve an underlying need.
Okay.
Yeah, there's an underlying need, there's an underlying belief, value that we associate with our behaviors. Yeah, they become our habits. They reinforce and they come back. So what do you gain by putting everything off until the last minute and then having to do these like 16, 18-hour days? What do you gain by that?
In that moment, I'm incredibly motivated to get something done. I work far better under pressure.
Okay. Why is that?
Because it's got to get done. Why is it I work better under pressure? Don't know. Just don't know the answer to that. Why do I work better under pressure?
Okay. So think about this one. When did you learn that you had to work under pressure? When did you learn that in order to get a job done, you had to spend a lot of time, there had to be pressure? When did you learn that? Because you talked about this, you know,
age of about 11 years old, when I started playing professional rugby.
Okay, so you started playing professional rugby.
Yep.
And tell me about that. What was the dynamic?
So very elitist sort of coaching models and stuff like that. And, you're running 100 meters under 11 seconds, have to do it. And therefore you put in all the time to get in under that 11 seconds before there's a deadline of, next week you're being time trialed. So the efforts you then put in are to make sure you are circa under 11 seconds. That you can run X on the bleep test. You can do this and do that. And so very early on, throughout my professional career, it was very elitist in that sense and very pressure orientated, I suppose. So that's where my, I suppose my thrive for that pressure.
Okay. So you've got all this pressure to perform being applied externally.
Yep.
Yeah. And as I go right back to the beginning, I said, what got you here won't get you there. Yeah. And you said, this is the type of person I've always been. Yeah.
Yep.
Is this the type of person you want to carry on being?
No, not at all. Hence why I'm with you, Alec.
Okay. Good. So I want you to think about what needs to shift. What do you need to let go of? Right? What do you need to let go of to stop doing in order to move forward?
What do I need to let go of? The deadline reviewing.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think it goes deeper than that. And I want all of you to lean into this. Okay, because what we resist persists. Okay, I want you to lean in. I want you to bring this coaching right into you. I'm talking to Nick, but I'm talking to all of you here. Okay, what belief about yourself do you need to let go of in order to move forward?
I work well under pressure. So.
Okay, that you work well under pressure, yeah. What else? What else is there around that?
I don't need constant input, and I don't mean that in terms of verbal input. I'm constantly seeking out multisensory input. That's part of my my current thing. I don't want to say that's an old habit. That's a new habit. That it's information sources and stuff like that.
So you're seeking out additional information sources, yeah, to make sure that the work that you produce is as good as it can be.
Not necessarily around that. It's more of I like to be as informed as possible around anything to do with my job. It's not necessarily on what the task I'm actually doing, but let's just take the latest education secretary spiel around vulnerable learners and stuff like that. Not only, it's then making sure I'm that, once I heard about that, that sort of, I went and did that rather than whatever I was doing. That makes sense. I sort of jump all over the place.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
again,
so I want you to think about this. Okay. Age 11, professional rugby player, lots of external demands,
yep,
and nothing less than absolute compliance and absolute best performance.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, 20 years later, in a completely different context, you believe that that's the way that you have to still work.
Yep.
Okay. So what's the belief that you need to let go of?
That the top 0.01% isn't the be all and end all. Is that?
Okay, we're getting somewhere. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that drive for perfectionism,
Yeah.
yeah, is down to a fear of failing, of not being good enough.
Right.
Just sit with that for a moment, Nick. How does it feel? Okay, you're putting in 16, 18-hour days. Yeah, leaving things until the last minute because there's a deep-seated fear that you're not good enough. And your formula for being good enough is to do things at this crazy, high-pressured, last-minute environment, because that's the way that you've always done things, and you've always been good enough doing it that way. So that must work again now, mustn't it?
Yeah. I don't think I would have articulated like that, but I'll think on it in terms of that fear of failure. You know, I fail at things all the time.
I don't want you to think on it, Nick. I want you to do something for me.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you sit back in your chair for me? Okay. And I just want you to take your right hand. I just want you to place it over your heart for me. And I just want you to close your eyes. And the other people here, you can do this as well. Okay, because this is for you as well. So Humana and Diane. And I want you to connect with that part of yourself that has that fear of not being good enough. Just feel it. Just let that fear connect. You might feel that your mouth goes dry. Might feel a bit of anxiety or tension in your body. Just connect with that feeling. Now, without moving your right hand, just with your left hand, if you're connected with that fear, just raise your left hand just for a second so I can see who's feeling that now. Yeah. That feeling, I want you to honor that feeling, because it's there and it came into being to protect you, to keep you safe at a time when you felt vulnerable. At a time when you felt that you weren't good enough because something happened and you made it mean that I'm not good enough. And now I want you to just let it go, because the meaning that you attach to that event isn't true. It was how you coped with that event. The belief that you built around that and the meaning that you built around that isn't true. Because you are whole and you are perfect and you have everything you need within you to achieve whatever you want in life, to be however you want to be. You have that in that exact same space where that fear is. You have the potential and the power to step out and achieve everything that you could possibly want to achieve. It's there in the exact same space inside of you. So, Nick, may I ask, what showed up for you?
I've really struggled in terms of to connect with that. Probably I'm not attuned with my inner thinking. What I was trying to do is think of a time I failed, as in like a large. I don't mean just like someone disapproving or not winning a new school or something like that. I'm talking about like a life fail, and just struggling to identify what that would be for me. I don't know quite.
Okay. So I invite you to create some space over the next few days and sit with it.
Yeah.
Because if we're distracting ourselves and keeping ourselves busy, then we're missing out on that space to actually connect with what's going on inside. So that will give you some insight as to what is going on and what you need to start to change in terms of your actions and your beliefs. Okay.
Yeah.
So before I come to Jimena, because I'm going to come to you in a second, Jimena. Okay. I'm going to drop a link into the chat. I am really ever so grateful for all of you being here this evening. So I'd like to offer you the chance to book a free one-to-one session with me. No sales, no strings attached. I've just dropped the link into the chat there. Because sometimes in this public space, you may not feel wholly comfortable in sharing something. But I really want to honor you and thank you for opening up here this evening. So book yourself, please, a one-to-one session with me. Give it a few days. You can reflect on what's going on through your head and what you're feeling in your body. And you can, have a one-to-one with me and we can see if we can get you unstuck. So, Jimena, are you ready to play?
I am ready.
It's so great to see you again. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Great to see you too, Alex. It's
Great.
been way too long.
It's been way too long, way too long. So I want to play a game with you. Are you ready?
I am.
So you and I bump into each other in that really nice coffee shop in El Dorado in the airport.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, one where they do that like nice filtery thing and you get a really nice cup of coffee. Yeah. And you say to me, holy shit, Alec, you'll never guess what game I'm playing. The last 3 years I've done, go.
I was thinking about that, maybe, but something I've been struggling lately is como choosing my masters. I think it's time for me to choose where to go next.
Okay.
So I would hope that I've been done with my masters by now.
Okay. So I want you to tell me from I'm done with my masters.
I'm done with my masters.
Okay, great. What did you study
Neuropsychology.
Neuropsychology. Fantastic. I'm really interested in that. What was the thing you took away from that?
maybe the perspective. It changed my perspective of how I see now, like educational context.
And so it's changed your perspective about how you see educational context. And what does that mean for you in your life?
I think I have a clearer view of how I can help change the world and have an impact on others.
Cool. So you've got this clear view that you're gonna, have an impact on the world and change others. So what have you actually done with that? What work are you doing?
I'm working at an international school here in Bogota,
Mm-hmm.
and with little kids, and I've seen my work impact those little kids.
Great. So, but I'm sensing that you want to take it further. You want to have a bigger impact. So what's that?
Yes.
What's that big vision, that big dream, that scary, big hairy, scary goal?
Maybe open my own como business. I don't know. That's something I really struggle with. I want to achieve.
Okay. So let's go completely scary hairy here. Right? Planets align, horoscopes, the universe, God, everything intervenes and aligns for you. Hairy, scary. What does it look like?
I'm leading my own project.
Yep.
Maybe not working for someone, but having my own project and being the leader of it. So, and pues como actually running it, not just an idea, pero doing it.
Okay. And who are you serving?
Kids.
Which kids?
No, I think in general, anyone I can help. Maybe it could be someone that can actually afford it and pay for the service, but it's all as well, because I don't know, kids that cannot afford it.
Okay. So kids in Colombia?
Sí. I would like to stay here.
Which part of Colombia though? Bogota or the coast or?
Bogota.
Bogota. Okay, great.
Yes.
So helping kids in Bogota with your ideas from neuropsychology, and what is the impact that you want to have on those kids? What do you want to shift for them?
I guess something, pues como, I don't know, was relating to what Nick was saying, that I've been struggling building habits since I was little. So helping them build those habits since they're very small.
Okay. And which habits?
I would say anything that can be helpful for each specific kid. So because I think it's very difficult for them to know what they want to build and how they want to grow, but I have a good base of habits, I don't know, studying habits or achieving goal habits or something como in general for them to build up on that.
Okay, excellent. So studying habits, achieving habits.
Mm-hmm.
Take it one level deeper. Yeah, because you've talked about doing. Yeah. What do you want them to be?
I think I want them to be happy, to feel that they've accomplished everything they wanted.
Okay. So kind of like satisfied, fulfilled in life?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Sí, como que they don't wonder and think of what if I would have done X thing or whatever, como que they feel like they are where they belong.
Okay. And if you were to achieve this, what would it give you?
Happiness as well, I think.
Okay. Why? What would bring you happiness?
To see them achieve it and to be part of the process.
Okay, so if you're part of the process and you see them achieving, what does that give you?
Pues I think it's a way of projecting myself as well. Como que if I'm doing that, I am where I'm supposed to be and where I want to be. And for them to do the same thing, como que, sí, I feel like it would be very, very fulfilling to watch them grow and be and achieve all those things.
So you just touched on a core there. Yeah, I don't know if anybody else picked up on it. You just touched on purpose. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why I'm here. Yeah, articulate that for us. Why are you here? Why is this important to you? What is your purpose?
I think that's difficult to articulate, pero no, I think it's something that I've always como que dream of, and pues como que slowly I've been building it, pero I think but what you were telling us before is thinking I'm not good enough or trying to do different things to avoid reality is what como keeps me self-doubting. So being able to get to where we're talking about that a unique scenario was amazing. Me como behind are not there anymore, and I'm where I want to be.
Okay, so what do you need to give up believing about yourself to get there?
That I'm not good enough.
Okay, so are you prepared to give that up?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I am.
You are prepared to give that up?
I am.
Okay, so right here, right now, bearing in mind this is going out live on LinkedIn and Facebook, as well as here in the Zoom room, right? There's who knows how many millions of people are witnessing you, Jimena, and I want to applaud you because you're really putting yourself out there, so thank you. So you are going to give up feeling not good enough?
I am.
Great. Okay, so now that you've moved past that I'm not good enough, what's the next action that you're going to take right now, okay, to make your dream a reality? You said that you're choosing masters. When I said, imagine you're 3 years from now and you're like, oh yeah, I've done my master's in neuropsychology.
So my next step would be to actually look for the different options they have and start doing the application.
Okay, so of the different options that you've got, because you've already looked at these, haven't you?
No, sí. O sea,
Yeah.
I've looked
Okay.
at different universities, pero sí, I'm there.
Yeah, so you've looked at them, but you're worried about making the wrong choice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What if I invite you to consider there is no wrong choice?
It's scary.
Okay.
Because, yeah.
Okay. Over here, we've
Mhm.
got choosing the master's program in the university.
Mhm.
Over here, we've got it's scary.
Mhm.
What's scary?
To not do, but make the right choice.
To not make the right choice. And if you don't make the right choice, what does that mean about you?
Because I can learn from the mistakes, I guess. Pero sí, como que I think that just making the right decision will keep me on track. And if maybe it's not what I was expecting, it can take me back a few steps.
Okay. So you want to study neuropsychology.
Mm-hmm.
So a wrong choice of a master's degree would be studying ice cream making.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you choose a degree in neuropsychology from one of the universities that you've already selected because it's a good university, yeah, is it afraid of making the wrong decision, or is it a bit of, oh, what if I choose this one and that one's better? Is it a bit of FOMO, fear of missing out?
Yes, exactly. They're
Yeah.
thinking but I think I can be super specific of what I'm going to choose, but maybe I'm missing out something that another program had, and then I just realized in the middle of the master's I'm doing that would be something I would like to. I don't know. See, I tend to overthink things, so that's
Yeah. How's overthinking working out for you?
not very well.
Okay, so you're going to book a call with me, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for next week.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to hold you to this, yeah, and by the time you booked your call with me next week, you're going to say, holy shit, Alec, since we spoke last week, I've applied to X university and that's what I'm going for.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Deal?
Deal.
Because that is the secret. That is the secret to beating procrastination. It is in the action, it is in the performance of feeling the fear and then doing it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is not a particularly pleasant saying, but have you ever been in a meeting, okay, or in a busy room or something like that, and you really needed to go to the bathroom, but you've held it in because you don't want to disturb whatever's going on, or it's a key part of the meeting, or, you know, the James Bond film, I watched it this week, it's 2.5 hours long. And about 30 minutes from the end, I thought, oh, I really need to go to the bathroom. Hold it in, I can't miss out. What, you know, we feel that sensation in our body and we ignore it because we desire the outcome. Yeah, we desire to see the end of the James Bond movie, or we desire to finish the meeting. You know, there's something there that is bigger than the feeling. That fear is that feeling. It's like a fart. Excuse my language. Okay. Fear is like a fart. Right? What do you do if you've got to go to the loo or if you've got to break wind? You go somewhere quiet, you deal with it privately, and then you get on with it. Okay? The key to beating procrastination and getting shit done is feeling the fear and then doing it anyway. Okay? It's feeling the fear and then doing it anyway. It's saying to yourself, good enough is better than perfect. It's saying to yourself, I'm going to swallow the frog. There's a book out there, I think it's called Eat the Frog or Swallow the Frog or something like that, about doing the big unpleasant tasks that you're putting off first thing in the morning. Because once you've got it done, then you can get on to the other stuff, the engaging stuff. It's reminding yourself day in, day out that the event and the meaning are not connected. Yeah. In Gestalt theory, they call it empty chair, where you literally are sitting in one position, you're looking at an empty chair and getting a different perspective. Yeah. I sometimes just physically go like this, put it over to one side, and then step away from it and think, okay, is it actually true? Yeah. If I was to cut open any of you, inside I couldn't find anything that said fear. I couldn't find anything that said not good enough, because it doesn't exist physically, it exists in language. Something has happened and you've made it mean fear, not good enough, I'll look bad, I'll be wrong. But it's not actually real. That's not to say it's not a real feeling. It is, because you feel it. But just because you feel it doesn't mean it's real. Yeah? You have the power to choose to move beyond that feeling, that sensation. And you have the power, and the power is in the performance. Nick, going back to your rugby days, going back to those 100-meter sprints in 11 seconds. Yeah, it was the performance. Diane, the imposter syndrome, the self-doubt. You project an image through your performance that you're not suffering with that. Jimena, in your career, your performance, even though sometimes you feel, oh, you know, you probably haven't realized, I've coughed a few times, I've got a stinking flu. Okay, I would normally be wrapped up in my blanket, man flu, on the sofa, binge watching something on Netflix, probably going, oh, yeah, but I wanted to show up and play with you guys tonight, right? The action is in the performance. Now, I have no idea what is happening on Facebook and LinkedIn because I can't see that. I know it's live out there somewhere, but all I can see is the full review on my screen. So it's letting go of what you can't control. That's how you beat procrastination. You focus on you, how you show up. That's what you can control. And that's where this belief, this mindset begins. So, question for you to contemplate. What are you taking away from tonight? What insight have you gathered? What are you taking away? Just drop me a couple of words in the chat, please. Great. So spend some time out to reflect, Nick. Absolutely essential. Create that space. Because without that space, without connecting to what's going on inside, then you can't shift anything. Yes, Diane, we are in this together. And Jimena, yep, focus on the actions. So just a show of hands. Has there been valuable insight for you this evening? Just raise your hands. Are you taking something away, something valuable? Another show of hands. Have you already booked yourself a session with me? If you haven't, do it right now. Before you go off the call, I'll get a little notification. Book yourself a session with me.